sad thing for me is there is a big following that some of these more global anti-trafficking organizations get, and there's some celebrity involvement in those types of things. I'm sad that it's not more, though.
Mm.
And I do believe that it stems from the arguments that we were presenting that we don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
That in many of these cases, they view the trafficking as prostitution or stripping, or, you know, there's a lot of different avenues that these women can go down, or be propelled down.
Yeah.
And I think this, you know, you need to be free in your sexuality has sort of taken over the minds of a lot of people, that they don't feel like they should really speak out against this thing because maybe this thing is
right.
an issue of law. That if we just made it legal, it would kind of get rid of the pimps, and it would get rid of the sort of negative consequences or things related to.
Yeah. I think this I think the sad thing is you hear those are the voices that you hear the loudest sometimes, is how it's not actually that bad, and that it's a free thing. You can be free to do this. But the thing that I have found is that it's easy to say that. It's not easy for those who've experienced the exploitation and the shame and the hurt and the trauma of it. It's not easy for them to come out into the open to the world and say, no,
it's more,
this was not good.
There's a lot of shame.
This was detrimental to me. This was awful for me. They're not going to do that. I mean, some of them are brave enough to do that, but I think that's one of the things that gets me a little riled up and a little upset, because there's so much shame there that it sounds like the other side is a little bit silent. So maybe it's not a big deal, but they're silent because there's so much shame and hurt and trauma. And it's easy for the other side to be boisterous and loud because maybe they've not experienced that. They haven't been in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And
now this is a spiritual thing, and some people probably are going to listen to this and not really understand where I'm coming from, and that's okay. A lot of this stems from just the kind of, from a biblical standpoint, it's just there's a lot of debauchery and a lot of wickedness in our culture that is just pervasive, and all you have to do is just turn on the TV and there's going to be some wild stuff on there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you know, if guys are listening to this, you know, they visited porn sites, there's some wild stuff on there. So you don't really have to look too far to see what I'm talking about. And yeah, I just, I'm just struggling with okay, I'm just going to like come out and kind of say what I was thinking as you were talking about that. We have this culture that sort of celebrates the wickedness nowadays. You know, we kind of celebrate porn stars as if they've done something instrumental for society.
Yeah.
No. They were instruments for other men to jack off to.
Yeah.
And come on, guys. You know, come on, people.
Yeah.
Like, seriously? These are people that should be applauded? Like, no, they should be, because most of them, when they do sit down for an interview and are honest, are like, yeah, it sucked. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was a terrible lifestyle. I had to have sex with all of these random men, you know, or women. I had to do all of these things that I just maybe wasn't comfortable enough, but it paid.
Right.
So I did it.
Right.
You know, I hated that lifestyle. And most say this, but you don't hear about it.
Yes.
They're not coming on Joe Rogan's podcast. And Joe Rogan, and this is one that, you know, I listen to Joe Rogan all the time, but he's one that He's never brought on anyone to give him the counter argument to the human trafficking. Well, he doesn't even call it human trafficking. To the prostitution argument.
Okay.
He's very like, if people want to make $2,000 in one night by having sex with this old guy, like they should be allowed to.
Yeah.
I get it. I get the argument. But he's also said, I have 3 daughters. I don't want them involved in this. And he's been open with that. So, but I'm saddened that these voices aren't allowed and aren't celebrated when they come out and say, nah, it's not good.
Right.
Nah, there's issues here. We have this with the trans movement. This is a hot button issue, and sorry, I'm gonna go here. There are thousands of people that transitioned when they were young that regret their decisions. Now, when they came out as trans, there was fireworks and celebrations and applause and social media comments, and there was all of this just wonderful. We are for you. We are with you. Congratulations. Welcome to becoming who you were born to be. Then when they say, I regret my decision, which is a perfectly legitimate thing to come out and do.
Right.
We make mistakes in life.
Yep.
We're people.
Yep.
We're human beings. I make mistakes. This person made a big mistake with their gender and they regret it.
Yeah, there's no going back after that.
And when they come out and say that, they get hate. They get silenced. They get all kinds of just malice towards them because people say that they are inspiring hate towards those that are thinking about transitioning.
Oh my.
But if you don't allow the argument to say, this is a big decision, I regret it, maybe someone else might regret it too.
Right.
And then you only have a culture that just sees people celebrating you for transitioning, and now we're getting, and that's all we want.
Yeah.
We live in a culture that loves the praise. We live for it. So when you are on social media and you only see praise for this, you say, I want praise. I'm depressed.
Yeah. I
need this.
Yeah.
And then we have all of these, especially girls. That's where it's really hitting right now.
Yes.
Abigail Schreier wrote a book about it called Irreversible. And man, great book. Go read that book. She'll make way better arguments than I'm making in this podcast. But she saw this trend of all of these girls going towards transitioning, and they were doing it in groups, and they were all applauding each other, and they were all celebrating each other's transitions. And we silence those that come out and say, I regret my decision.
Because wasn't there a good amount now that are doing that, or
that are coming out and saying I regret it?
Yeah.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
So
you never hear about them. Instagram, you're on your scroll and they'll always have like a transgender person, or they'll have a homosexual person in the scroll. They never have straight people. It's weird. Which I think we should celebrate straight people too, because they do great things. Make babies. It's beautiful. And that's not a knock. That's just like, we should celebrate all people.
I think so.
Because we're all awesome.
Yeah. As you were talking about that issue, it makes me think of, I think we're not valuing like the whole person and bringing it back to the sexual exploitation. Like when you're selling when you go for a job.
Yeah.
You have like, it's your whole person really that is being like you're interviewing for, right? But with like, when it comes to just like one thing, just your body, like that's all, like no one cares about anything else except for your body.
Right.
That sounds like exploitation just in itself. Like I'm going to just use your body and I don't care about how you feel or what you think or what happens afterwards or before. I don't care about you. I just care about me and what I want, and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to pay you so I can feel better.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, if that's empowering to a woman, that's just a lie. Like they don't understand what they're getting into.
But it's like with so many things in our culture, we focus in on one aspect of a larger picture.
Right.
We focus in on the fact that it's just a physical act. Massage therapists come to your house and they give you a massage and you feel better. They don't get anything out of it except maybe some sore hands,
right.
and you give them money.
Right.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
The difference is that there's a whole psychological aspect to sex. It's scientific.
Right.
There's no argument to it. There are so many things that happen in your brain during the act of sex that are one. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all of that type of stuff, but like, it's a very confusing and psychologically detrimental thing for the woman that has to do this on a constant basis where she's having sex like 15 times a night.
Right.
You know, that you have to go into your mind so that you don't have any attachment to any of these people.
Well, and that's why there's so many disorders that come out of that.
Right. You have to go so deep into the dark recesses of your mind to just detach from the world during these opportunities. That's why these women need a home that they can basically rewire their brains to function normally again.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be normal.
Yeah.
And that's why these stories of the people that are coming out of human trafficking are so important. Because, and just from the few fundraisers that I've been to or meetings that I've been to with you and hearing the stories from actual survivors is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. Just the things that they had to go through.
Yeah.
And still have to go through.
And that's, I'm always, those ladies, anyone who ever hear share about their own personal, that's just scary. And they didn't have to share any of that. And
no. What's up, everybody? You just watched a clip from one of our Just Breathing podcasts. If you want to see the full version, you just hit the link in the description below. Or if you want to just keep watching clips, we got some more right here. Thanks, everybody.